Hey guys, Becky here with Design Bundles, and I'm super excited today to share with you probably one of my favorite projects in a long time. We are cutting and assembling a wireless cell phone stand slash charger, and guys, you are just really going to love this project. Okay guys, so here we are in Silhouette Studio and we're making a quick stop here because I want to modify this design a little bit. Now this is useful if you want to actually change the design itself, but what I'm actually going to do is on Amazon I bought a wireless charger that is intended to be inset into a table surface, and I am going to add that circle cut out here to the file so that I can use it with this phone stand and not have to plug my phone in every time. So of course, it came with a little guide, an instruction manual that gave me the measurement, but I did double check the measurement myself just to be safe, and I will show you how to do that once we're looking at the actual project. So the actual circle that we need is going to be 2.375, and I want to insert that right here where it's going to match up with my phone. So the first thing I need to do is get rid of or just erase the design that is already there. So this part was a scoring, so I can just ungroup and delete that, but then I need to release the compound path to get these other pieces. So let me show you what that looks like in case you are new to Silhouette Studio. There we go. So all I want to do is be able to delete those out, and now I can select the entire design and make the compound path again. So you release the compound path to gain access to those inner pieces, and then once you delete those, you can make the compound path. Now let's go ahead and add my circle, and then I'm going to, let's see, how high do I want? I'm going to put it about halfway through. So I can select this and use my center, and then I can do the same thing, select these two, right click and make a compound path, and that will cut out, let me show you. There we go. That will cut out that circle from my design. Okay. So I will go ahead and group these together, and I will save this. Now remember that I have Silhouette Studio Business Edition. So what that means is I can save directly as an SVG. But I do have a video already on, if you do not have Business Edition yet and you're just getting used to Silhouette Studio, you can check it out. I will link it for you down in the description area. So once I'm in the Glowforge software, rather the website, I can just drag and drop my file that I saved. And it looks like it's filled in, but if you pay attention over here, that is because it is set to engrave. Now let me see, I am going to change this because it did not pick up my material. And that's going to be this medium basswood plywood. So I'm going to switch that from engrave to cut. And then I will position it down here in the corner. Let's see, let's move this. And I'm also going to zoom in. I do try to be thrifty with my materials, so I try to position it all the way in the corner when I can. There we go. Now let's click over to print. This should be a pretty quick project since all we're cutting is this relatively small area. So it'll only be 2 minutes and 16 seconds. So I will walk over there and start the magic. Alright guys, so let's see how we did. I can already tell that this one has dropped down a little bit, so it should be an indicator of a good cut. So let's find out. Yes, a very good cut. And I will say, I got pretty darn close to the edge, and I'm very happy with that. So these are the two pieces that we're working with, and in case you didn't know, you can fit those together just like that. Okay, but we will talk more about assembly, and we will show you about how we measured and determined the size for the circle. Okay guys, so I promised the first thing that I would do was to tell you guys how I arrived at this size for the hole. And this is what I did. So I took the back. Now, like I said, the little pamphlet does have the measurements on there. So that was a good starting point for me. But what I did was I flipped it over and I just took my measuring tape and I measured from one side to the other. And then of course I'm not very handy, so I counted all the little digits and used my calculator to get what the decimal was, okay? So that was my starting point. And then I was able to size these circles. So for example, I went 2.75, 3, 3.25, 3.5, and I just worked all the way up because I was like, Becky, you just don't really know, and all it cost me was a piece of cardstock. So as you can see, once I feed the cord through, and I unwrapped the cord before I remembered I was showing you guys this, but I was actually right on the money the first time. Okay, so you can see here that it just fits right into that hole very nicely. All right, so with that being said, we're going to break that template there. Now, let's talk about our phone holder. I am going to apply a little bit of stain, but it's very, very easy to assemble. And that's literally it. And it will stand up on its own, which means it's also easy to travel with you or to tuck away when not in use. I personally plan on using this one for my desk, but these are also really good for nightstands and really just any place that you might want to prop up your phone. Now, they do say, and this is just a precaution, this is an aftermarket charger. So definitely make sure you're comfortable using it with your phone. And then also that you don't want to use your phone at the same time that you're charging it. So we're not propping this up because we want to use it at the same time that we're charging it, okay? I guess that causes the battery to get really hot. And I should have done this before I put gloves on. So I put the glove on because I am going to apply the stain. Okay, so overall not complicated. Now I am going to open my stain. And I apply my stain very thin, okay? Because I want it to dry fast. And I also cheat and I use these paper towels for my stain. It just seems to work pretty well for me. And this is called Special Walnut. It's just a very inexpensive stain that I got from the store locally. And it just adds just a little bit a finished color look. And I wipe off any excess because, like I said, very, very thin coat. Of course, there's a multitude of stains available, so you can stain it to whatever look you like. I'll be honest with you, you don't even really need a stain on a nice finished wood. Or you could just simply seal it. I'm also not a staining professional, so there's really no rhyme or reason to my staining, especially on these very, very small projects. I have noticed that on certain types of wood, the stain really seems to make a difference, but on this particular project, it is just adding a very slight hue. Okay, so with that out of the way, you do want to allow that to dry, and then we will come back and finish the assembly. All right, guys, so all dry here. All right, like I said, we just have a very, very slight hue to the wood, but it does just give it more of a polished look. Now, this is, my new favorite glue. I use it in all of my wood projects. A lot of you guys ask about it. I'll be honest with you, I don't know a whole lot about it, other than I got it on Amazon. But it works really good on metal and wood. I can attest to that. So it should work really, really great for this project. And I'm actually going to apply it. Here, let's go ahead and feed our cord through first. And I just want to say, guys, especially if you were doing this as a gift, you could very easily have added personalization up here or even at the bottom. Now, it does technically get covered up, but it's something that they can look at whenever they pull their phone off. Okay, so still super cute. And before we glue this, it's always a good practice to double check that the power's working. Okay, so it does have a light up indicator here, and I brought my cell phone to show you guys that if I put my phone on there, it does, I don't know if you can see it, but it does light up and say that the charging is working. So, I mean, how sad would we be to assemble this just to find out that it didn't work, right? All right, now I just applied a very thin coat, and I am going to attempt to angle this so that my cord is at the bottom. Okay, so I can just leave it like that and allow that glue to dry. It should only take just a few minutes. Now, let me just tell you about this because this was designed to actually fit in the top of a table. So for example, I would drill a hole into my table, fit this guy inside of it. So it does have these brackets. So if you happen to be working with a super thick project, then you could use these brackets and it actually will screw in to make a brace. But that's just not necessary for our project here. All right, so guys, it's literally already in place. So now that is our finished project. I can simply assemble it. It's already plugged in and it will hold and charge my phone at the same time. I don't know if you can, again, I don't think you guys can see it's just a very dim light up, but there we go. So guys, how did you feel about our phone stand project? Now, obviously, I thought it was really cute. I love to make them. Actually, that was the third one that I have made because I do get a lot of requests for them. Now, I'm not going to lie. You notice I don't have it here in front of me. I actually already gave it as a gift. I gave that to my teenage son, who was also, you know, just a big supporter of my crafting. He comes down and works with me from time to time in my little shop. And guys, he loved it. He absolutely loved it. And that always makes my heart happy because teens are really hard to impress. They don't usually care about crafting. So, you know, anyway, let's wrap it up. If you have any questions or comments about what we've done, please make sure you leave that in the comments below. I did snag some pictures for you guys so you can still see that at the end. We'll get a nice overview of it. Guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button because that's what keeps our little channel here going. And, you know, I just really love to keep bringing you guys these tutorials in the future. It really means a lot to me every time you stop by and pay me a visit. So, thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you again next time.